Hey everybody. So today we're going to draw the female canine UG system. We're going to do it in a very simple sense again with just some lines and thinking about topography and where these structures exist. And again, as with all abdominal organs, there's a ton of mobility here, and these are going to be starting points, starting reference points. So you can see down here on the left, bottom left, what our goal is, and these are kind of general structures, and we're going to place them in a general way. Now on Meadow here, before we even start to draw anything in the abdomen, we have to think about some landmarks that show on Meadow. And the first is her last rib, and this ventral border of the epaxial, hypaxial muscles. And basically everything abdominal is going to be ventral to this border of these epaxial, hypaxial muscles, and you can see these quite easy on her. So everything is down here. So don't draw your kidneys up here, okay? That's a very common mistake of a beginning student, okay? Sad face, no. Don't draw those things up there. So what we will do is get rid of that. And we'll continue here with where we want to draw things. And the other landmarks we will do are, we'll think about the iliac crest, generally up in this region. And down in here is the ischiatic tuberosity. And so that's in this general region here. And that'll give us an idea of the floor of the pelvis. So this is going to be the opening to the pelvic canal here. And that's kind of going to be our target where these structures go. So to begin with, let's start with the kidney. Now, the right and left kidney, they do have some variation on where they go, and we're just going to draw one for right now. And we're generally going to place it as a general rule around this intersection between the last rib and the ventral border of the epaxial lumbar muscles. So that is going to be the kidney. Then we'll follow that up, just caudal to that, and this isn't as strong as anatomy textbooks make it out to be, but generally caudal to the kidney, you're going to find the ovary. Okay, so that's going to be the ovary. So the ovary is generally associated caudal to the kidney, and again, it's in more of a dorsal aspect of the abdomen. The uterine horn will run from the uterine tube that comes off the ovary to the uterine horn. And we will run that with a little curvature in it, a general direction towards the pelvic canal. So that would be the uterine horn. So that's 3. We'll continue that on caudally with the uterine body. So the 2 uterine horns come together to form the body. So that would be the uterine body. Caudal to the uterine body is going to be the cervix. So that would be the cervix. And caudal to the cervix is going to be the vagina. Now we'll draw the cranial part of the vagina outside of the pelvic canal, but the vagina will enter the pelvic canal and go through and terminate about here at the ischiatic arch. So that's going to be the vagina, beginning outside the pelvic canal, but enters into the pelvic canal. The next structure we'll consider will be the vestibule. The vestibule is the caudal ventral continuation of the vagina. So it drops. You have a significant ventral drop after the ischiatic arch. And 8, we'll draw in the urinary bladder. So to continue on with the urinary bladder is going to be cranioventral to the pelvic inlet. So this would be your urinary bladder. So that is going to be 8, the urinary bladder. The urethra heads caudally from the neck of the urinary bladder, and it joins the female tract where the vagina transitions into the vestibule. So this part here is going to be the urethra. Again, joining the female tract, where the vagina continues on in between the vagina and vestibule, basically. And then finally, to seal off the topography here, we will put in the rectum relative to the vagina and the pelvic canal and the urethra. And the rectum would be up here, dorsal to the vagina. So that would be the rectum. And it's an important relationship you understand going from dorsal to ventral through the pelvic canal. It would be rectum, vagina, and urethra. So this is basically the general setup and thinking about how to quickly sketch in the female repro in an animal. Okay, start with your landmarks and work everything towards the pelvic canal and consider what's in the canal and not in the canal. And again, don't draw these things way up here dorsally.